Last hour on the show is going to be kind of weird this week because there's some sports-ish stuff in our culture hour. That's because we got March Madness going on. We had the World Baseball Classic close out, and then there's just some other stuff we want to talk about. So let's start with the World Baseball Classic here. Parlay Pete. I it I loved watching it. I was sitting at Crew here in Albany. Yes, Albany has a Crew lounge. It's just shocking as hell.
Is it literally like crew, like the same crew?
Yeah, the Green Crew that you've heard of and every other. Yeah, same.
Interesting.
Very much so. Definitely brought out more on a Tuesday than I would expect. But it was only my only problem is they didn't have their TVs on at the bar, so I don't know if they don't got their YouTube TV set up or what. So I was watching the World Baseball Classic like on my phone.
Really?
It's fine though.
Did you bring it up to any of the crew members?
Not yet. It was my first time. I was still
do that in there.
Yeah, I like that. I'm trying to. I was trying to train up a young bartender on how to take care of a future regular. Like, here's what I'm drinking. I need you to memorize this.
Best part is that unless she moves, you know that she's not moving from there.
I'm telling you, like, you need to know that when I go this right here, when I do the slow, that's beer. When I do that's shot, like, I need you to know the difference between the two. And I don't need you to ask me what I want a beer, what kind of beer I want, what kind of shot I want. I need you to, train them up,
Right.
So, Ohtani versus Trout is the final at bat. Teammates, arguably the two best players in the MLB.
Okay.
Trout has made his money. Trout has won his MVPs. Trout hasn't won jack shit in Major League Baseball. And if Trout walked into the mall right now, he would be like, who is this jacked white guy? But they wouldn't know he was one of the best players in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Shohei Ohtani, apparently there were like 60 million Japanese people watching the fucking game. Okay. Enough said.
It was good for the game.
It was good for the game. But I bring that up to say that they had that battle to close out the game. And I said in our group text, bro, this is a battle for their locker room. If it seems petty, but in a clutch moment like that for the World Baseball Classic, if Trout doesn't get a hit, he loses part of the locker room. Because Shohei is hitting at the level that he's hitting at. And he's also a pitcher. But he also plays in the field.
And it did so in that said game.
Bro, Shohei came into the game batting 450. And then closed it out by throwing gas 100.
Now, for what's worth too, Trout also has been doing this a minute.
He has.
Because, hell, he ain't really been healthy his last 3 years, 4 years. I mean, shit. All them MVPs he won were like, that was like that 2016, 17, 18. Like, I mean.
Yeah, back when the Steelers
were in those playoffs. And then think about it, too. Baseball, too, MVPs aren't awarded to who the best team is. It's awarded to the best player. They don't take notes about what your record is.
Other leagues should take notes.
Is that what I guess? What makes you an MVP? And then that's a real question.
Well, yeah. What is value?
Is it being the best player in baseball or in any sport? Is it being the best player with the combination of wins, at least throughout? Because it's a regular season award, obviously. Because if that was the case, they would just do it after every postseason for every sport. But like it's a regular season award. But is it at the time of voting, this was what was the? I mean, what?
I don't know. Nobody knows what an MVP is. There is no objective criteria for what an MVP is.
Okay,
doesn't exist. But I said Mike Trout lost the locker room because Shohei's the better baseball player.
Okay,
and then on the big stage in the clutch, where Mike Trout has really never been in the clutch because he's never been on a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he threw 102 in the dirt and followed it up with an 87-mile slider. That's filth. And to be able to do that while also being able to hit for power and field at a respectable level. Shohei Ohtani is a recreation baseball player in major leagues. Like the best kid on the team, the coach's son who plays shortstop, pitches, bats cleanup. And then they tell you as you get older, you can't do that anymore. Shohei's doing it. And I hope that Shohei is making baseball what it should be. Like we're getting rid of these these parameters on players, these blockers on talent, because I was always confused. Why can't a pitcher hit well? Like that's crazy to me. There's 24 hours in a day, bro. Like you can work on BP and you can work on pitching just like the other players work on fielding. Like I'm confused here. And I know guys who pitched growing up and they could hit. They play other positions.
Especially like old school ball, right?
Yeah.
Now it's kind of considered old school ball, but if you look at now that we have a universal DH, but of course us watching NL ball, being Braves fans and growing up here in the Georgia Atlanta area, you naturally would see the pitcher hit, and you're kind of like, yeah, that was always a question of why that is. And then even with the history of baseball, you look up and you see, well, Babe Ruth pitched at one point. I know Cy Young, like these people that are like, you know, just remember baseball.
Bro, I just remember I just played baseball and a lot of the pitchers were good. And we were talking, and you know, Justice brought up why we lost because our big pitchers didn't play. And I'm go, well, the pitchers are just like quarterbacks. They're the most coddled athletes, you know, American sports athletes. Like we talk about the NBA player because it's so easy to talk about the privileged black people who are poor and now they got something, so they just throw their power all around when they get a chance to. But these pitchers, these quarterbacks are coddled. They are so coddled, and it makes absolutely no sense. Oh, I can't pitch because it might mess me up for the season. And I don't know if you heard John Smoltz talk about it. He's like, man, you got to play baseball. Like you can't control when something bad happens. Play baseball. And I was happy to hear that from a Brave because I love John Smoltz, you know, great Brave. The A Mike on Fox now that you know, the A Mike on Fox who gets the World Series. Great starter, great closer. And it's just I like to see the disruption because just like some of these quarterbacks, the way they didn't let athletic players play quarterback, I think the same thing can happen with pitching is, oh, this guy, he can throw heat, but he can't hit. What happens if a guy can throw heat and he can hit? You know, there's a lot of black outfielders who can throw the ball on a line from deep center to the plate. Hey, that guy can throw 99. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's and I think that internationally, one thing I think that the World Baseball Classic would bring to light is that there are so many talented players across the world, and specifically with that sport being maybe the easiest, and not the easiest, but the easiest in terms of like bringing that to light, like. Yeah, there's international players in the NBA. There's even some in the NFL now, but like baseball is a sport where you could have a team like Tokyo come out because the second biggest league behind the MLB is in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Like, is where motherfuckers go. So that is the Euro League of baseball where there's top guys. That's where they get guys like Shohei, Dice K, Matsu, like, you know, like all these dudes that came over, they all came from the Tokyo League. So it doesn't even come as that big of a surprise, at least from that perspective. Look at fucking Tennessee, bro. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm watching NBA now.
No, man, I'm disappointed. This is what I need. I needed these niggas to win. And I should have just taken them first half. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you still got some time.
No, I don't. This game is over, Lee. It's a 7-point game with 50 seconds left. I'd have to. There'd have to be a lot to happen. Like this brother's going to have to miss both his free throws.
Well, he's gonna feed his family. He keeps winning, Mister.
Oh, is that the dude? That's the dude that said it, right? He's
Yeah.
like, I'm just trying to feed my family.
And I said I hope he gets a degree. But yeah. Speaking of college basketball, Rick Pitino just took the job at St. John's, and I saw where Rob Parker and Chris Broussard talked about it, and they weren't. Rob Parker was not a fan of it based on the caption that I read. I hate that Rick Pitino is getting painted any differently than these other coaches because he got caught. You know, it's like your drinking buddy who gets the DUI and everybody wants to call him a drunk, but y'all are always drunk together.
Right.
Or the guy you smoke pot with, he gets the weed charge. Or
now he's a weed. Yeah, he's a
druggie.
Right.
Like, oh well, you do every time you do drugs, he does drugs. You're there, and you're doing with him. Rick Pitino got caught. Louisville overreacted because in all of that, nobody got in real trouble. Like nobody got in real trouble.
Yeah, well, you don't even remember much from that Rick Pitino Louisville era. Even the star player on the national championship team. Who's the best player on that team?
I don't know. I just know he won a natty, and I remember he won it in Atlanta. And I was at the Hooters watching the game, and I walked from Hooters back to campus. Went by the Georgia Dome, ran into some fans, bummed a cig off a random Louisville fan, and we took a selfie together.
Louisville basketball, obviously, they were really bad this year. They were pretty fucking bad. I guess I'm just curious as to even just in general. Let's see. When did they get vacated? Okay, so they essentially haven't been relevant since he's been gone, which is no surprise. Let me see. Yeah, they've been irrelevant ever since he left. And that really comes as no surprise. And it is shocking just because you would have thought that he did, one of the what do they call? One of the 5 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought that he did something real serious there for the way that he got blackmailed.
Bro, what it boiled down to is Louisville was trying to show the NCAA that they were serious about this and they didn't know what was going on, and they're going to cut the head off the snake. And because Louisville is one of the most, I want to say their boosters pay the most into their basketball program and into the entire country. They go like, we have the money just to hire the next guy. What right. They got Chris Mack, and this shit didn't work. And they thought they were going to get DJ Wagner by hiring like his granddad, and nothing.
What are you looking at?
Off mic conversation.
Okay.
One of those topics that we don't talk about up here. But yeah, I'm just happy for Rick Pitino because at the end of the day, I don't care about the person. Rick Pitino is one of the best basketball coaches of my lifetime, and he should be on the bench. He should be on the bench that he can win on if he wants to be there. Like he shouldn't have to coach at Iona or in the Greek league, coaching Giannis's third cousin twice removed. He should recruit 5 stars, use NIL, and bring them to New York and get St. John's back in the Garden playing real basketball. He's going to. He's going to win a Big East championship within 3 years.
I'm going to tell you now, Lee, just because it's on and it's fresh and I'm watching it, I am so glad to see Tennessee get eliminated. Not because I bet on them, and of course my money is where my heart really is, right? But because I'm watching this, and I think it's crazy how these guys they're playing against a team that they are better than at the end of the day. They certainly, I tell you what, the dollars and the programs say as much, but they're sitting in this position, and Rick Barnes, all his old white ass can do is sit up and say, "Look, boys, we had a good run. But now it's time for Cancun. Can I get it on 3? Because they hold it. It's spring break time too for college kids. So if you're not playing in the NCAA tournament, you might as well be somewhere fucking looking at Dre in a bikini. I mean, I don't know, but
Bro, how mad would you be if you're like the 13th man on the bench, or you're the walk on who you know you're not gonna play, and y'all decide to go on the Cinderella run and you miss spring break?
it'd be a part of life though, like in a sense of. But these motherfuckers, they already talking shit. Who does Florida Atlantic play?
You're about the budget cuts coming to ESPN?
No, I didn't hear. I know you had said something briefly, but I didn't hear about them.
So here's what's happened. Bob Iger is back in the building at Disney.
Okay.
And ESPN and ABC historically reported their financials together.
Okay.
Iger say, no. Let's cut it. I want ESPN to report what they're making independently. And I guess Bob didn't like what he saw.
What did Bob see, though?
We're overpaying high-end talent. We're overpaying talent that's not bringing in numbers.
Okay.
Because we're the worldwide leader.
So who gets cut in that process is the question.
So there was a report that came out that Stephen A's on the chopping block. I don't believe that to be true.
I don't believe that either. They would come in to do a pay cut, and then from there be like, "Well, you can assess, your other." I don't feel like they would.
Well, no, I don't think they cut him. But what I think is and Marcellus Wiley talked about. He says they're gonna just stop paying the no-name people. So think about somebody who you think ESPN can get rid of. Mm-hmm. That was backcourt. That was so stupid. This guy from Gonzaga just threw the ball backcourt with no pressure because he wasn't paying attention to what's happening.
Is it because he's an idiot?
Absolutely. He's probably in those classes that you don't get credits for. But no. So Marcellus was like, think about the people who work for the network that probably make a lot of money, but they don't like the mid-tier guys. Dan Orlovsky.
Oh, Dan?
I don't think Dan's on the chopping block because Dan's going to cover games and do a bunch of stuff. Like, they're going to stretch that 1.5 that they're paying him. But having Michael Irvin and Chris Russo coming in and they're getting a dumb bag for a little bit of work. It's like, no.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't put those guys on either.
We're gonna get a guy who's gonna be happy to work at ESPN, and we're gonna give him $500,000.
Dan Orlovsky.
Because what in the last round of budget cuts, they lost Ryan Russillo, great talent. I ain't gonna say they lost Cowherd and Skip. They just made a decision because they saw the budget cuts coming and they had a better opportunity at Fox. Trent Dilfer got cut. Michelle Beadle got cut. Jamel Hill, Michael Smith. People who are definitely good enough to be on the network and deserve the roles that they were in. But I mean,
some of these people you don't even see or hear from again either.
Well, a lot of them have gone independent, and they're doing great stuff in their independent lane. But who gives a fuck about their independent lane because it's independent lane? You know what I mean?
Right. What it is, and I'm looking at Michelle Beadle now. I was surprised she went, but then I look at it, it's like, well, Michelle, you're almost 50. So it's like, yeah, we're going to put a younger, hotter, looking versions of you. We already were stuck up on And not Aaron Andrews, but
yeah. With Sarah Walsh?
mm-mm.
Talk about the news that got leaked, right?
NBA. She began to work NBA way more.
Oh yeah, I can see her face. Oh God, the one who had the
I'm talking
comments.
about Aaron Andrews, though. I mean, these were the
You're talking about Jimmy Butler rumors.
yep,
You're talking about the
yep,
Malika Andrews piece.
yep.
Her. I think they get rid of the African WNBA chick. They're not getting rid of Malika.
Hold on, because it's always Aaron Andrews, Lisa Salters, and who else? See, but this is my point, and this is how replaceable you are in that industry. At
I don't know
least
their name. I don't know their name.
the names are even coming up.
And Syracuse, Northwestern, UGA, USC, all these major schools. Oh yeah, and don't forget women's sports are giving us another attractive young lady to moderate a show because they're not letting many women give like true analysis. Not my word, not my thoughts and my opinion. What I consume on sports television.
right.
Joy Taylor is no longer the co-host of The Herd. They gave it to Jason McIntyre, who's terrible. Joy is moderating, Joy is on another show in a less popular time block. Okay. Jenna Wolf was on First Things First. Now it's an all-male show. Okay. There are not many women who are giving analysis in sports, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve to, but the industry is the industry. I mean, it is what it is. And guess what? They're going to find another woman, young woman, who hasn't made shit, who will take less.
Yeah, they make it right.
It's not right. It's not right. And not just women. It's it's guys. It has been players who, like, you know how much easier it is to get Dan Orlovsky to come to your network and make 1.5 than it is to get Peyton Manning to show up for the car wash once. Like, Peyton and Eli don't do the car wash ever. They do Peyton's places and Eli's whatever on the net on the Plus app. I ain't seen Troy on the car wash, and I ain't seen Joe on a baseball game.
Yeah, and we'll get. I guess we'll get to see technically because they did hire them last offseason if Joe does any baseball.
Bro,
But even for Joe,
if they're paying Joe that much, Joe loves baseball. He's not doing baseball.
And I feel like he would want to call it to begin with, but
Right.
but then there's the Troy factor. It's like, well, I mean,
he was doing baseball at Fox though.
Well, at that point, I'm saying, well, true. But then at that point, even with Troy, not that you got to make him do extra because he, like you said, if we talk about Fox, I don't remember Troy being on FS1 ever. But maybe he got on Cowherd once. Like maybe he got on the Herd once
a year.
But in reality, was he a contributor or was he the equivalent to like Steve Young and Jaws used to be on Pardon the Interruption for that 5-minute segment where they took
they had Jaws on today for his birthday.
On Pardon the Interruption?
Yeah.
He used to be a regular contributor. I remember when he was on there a lot. Him and Steve Young, like those were the two dudes I feel like they got on there a lot. So honestly, because Jaws didn't work for ESPN.
No, he was in that round of budget cuts too. So,
well, that's pretty dope that they would get him on. He used to be on there a lot. That's what I'm saying. That's why I bring him up. Like, I didn't see it today, but like he used to be on there a lot. Him and Steve Young would be like the two people they would get.
If you're a fan of the ESPN shows, expect for your favorite personality to have a podcast coming soon.
Right.
Let me see. Is there anything else on here? Yeah. 2 more things before we get out of here. We got 10 minutes. I think we can hit these 2 in 10 minutes.
Let's hit them.
6ix9ine got jumped for being a snitch at LA Fitness, and he had on some like little shorts.
I woke up to that video, And what I think that was what confused me more than anything. I don't even think it was the fact that he was leaguing or that he had been jumped. I was just like, yo, why is he wearing this at the gym and his hair? Like, it didn't look like he was at a gym, kind of.
It looked like he was trying to pick up guys.
Yeah, it looked open.
Yeah, butthole open. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not saying it as a judgment piece, but he looked very feminine in his appearance.
Yes.
The guys who jumped him, Boosie was saying that, he started GoFundMe for them. And I had a good friend say, yeah, they're gonna need it because they beat up a federal witness.
I didn't even think that deep into it, but certainly that is the way that you can look at it.
I hope they fry. I hope those guys fry, and here's why.
The jumpers?
The jumpers, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was all about clout. I don't really rock with Adam 22, but no jumpers around here. You know what I mean? I think they should, you beat this guy up for, what did he do to you? Did he snitch on you? Did he mess up your money? Oh, no, you just beat him up because he's a snitch? And you recorded it? Give him the book.
Well, they recorded it, and then they couldn't even take, hey, this was us. Now they can't even do that, right? I'm sure within their little posses, as Phil Jackson liked to call it to LeBron, maybe they brought it up. They brought it up within that circle, right? But I don't really know.
Bro, if somebody dropped that video in the locker room, I would call whoever's. I say, hey, bro, that's corny. You get no cool points here. Don't show us those types of videos. What else I got? Ringling Brothers, Bart and Bailey's coming back with no animals at the circus because I guess Josh Holsey and PETA scared them off. I mean, I get it. Last time I went to the circus was your freshman year of college, my sophomore year, right?
Who'd you go see? Did you go see the Universal?
No, God, no.
Universal Circus.
Bad experience. The first time I went, the animals didn't make it.
The animals didn't make it.
No,
nigga, they died at the show.
I don't know. They must have got caught in Columbus or some shit.
Oh, you're just saying that they didn't make it to the show.
Yes.
They used to be. So my mom's birthday is March 2nd.
Okay.
We talked about that
last week. Yeah, last week.
Well, it could have been on. Let's see. I'm looking at the numbers. It would have fallen on one of my mom's birthdays, but this was the thing. Point being, so that was one of the things she liked to do with us. Like on her birthday, we would always go to the circus because the circus is always in town here in March, and we would go to Universal. And I don't know. I think a part of it certainly was because it was a black circus. I definitely believe that.
Well, that's why we tried to go. And actually, you know what? Let me tell you, we went during the era of Drumline, and the band, I think it was Southwest DeKalb that played in Drumline. They were playing at Universal Circus the year we went, and it wasn't no animals, with no lions, no elephants.
Right.
But when I went back in college, the animals just looked so sad and like they didn't want to be there. And I was not as open-minded then as I am now.
Right.
I was not as caring about these causes then as I am now. And I'm not no big animal rights person. I think you should treat animals humanely.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think you should treat animals. You should properly treat animals, but you should not treat them like I also don't think they're human beings. Like my dogs are not like my kids. They're my dogs. I own them. They're a possession. And I treat them like I treat most of my possessions very well, right? Like they're a living thing, so I don't think they should just die. I should treat them like shit. None of that, but
right.
But the way I looked at those elephants, I was like, oh, this isn't right. They don't want to be here. And it just struck a nerve with me. I'm like, yo, I'm good off the circus.
I haven't been to the circus since I was younger.
Okay.
But only because obviously just No,
Bro, once you grow up, it's hard.
It's hard to get into a lot of stuff the older you get in general. I think they're showing Adam Morrison here now. Whew, talk about a blast from the past when you see a guy like Adam Morrison.
Well, they said Adam Morrison used to like not bathe and dip all the time. That just doesn't work well in the basketball locker room.
Hold on. He wouldn't bathe and he dipped?
Yeah.
Well, they're showing it because Gonzaga's beating UCLA, and I guess that when Gonzaga, when he lost that last year, there's like it's not a meme because it wasn't meme worthy back then, but it's like him like crying with like his like pencil drawn kind of stash, and it's like him like boo-hooing. And it's just like, Adam, bro, you're literally one of the top players in the world. Like, you're getting drafted. You went fucking Michael Jordan drafted you, which that's not a good thing, I guess. But
hey, question for you. So the preview that we talked about doing, you want to do that like while we're live? Or do you want to like me create a whole nother thing that we do?
Well, my thought was off air, but recording.
Okay.
Or doing it a day before, one or the other. But we would have to have everything lined up.
Bro, we can't do it a day before because of the way we do the show.
I know, but that would be why if we pre-production it doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Well, we're never gonna pre-production, right? You know that.
That is true.
I'm making another link right now so that when we get off of here, we can like just record it and be done with it.
Okay.
Let's see. What's today's date?
Today's the 23rd. Oh boy, I cannot believe that I let Tennessee just snake me like this.
I mean, you.
Oh, bro, this is disgusting. Bro, that's disgusting. I'm not even gonna lie. This is disgusting.
Zan's Perky check. Bill Belichick.
UCLA has not scored a basket in 10 minutes.
I have not been paying attention that in depthly, but I've had the game on and it has looked that.
I swear to God. Well, it just showed it. They haven't made a field goal in 10 minutes. So they've completely blown this game to Gonzaga, which is fine. It's not good for my pockets, but like.
All right, I just sent you the one for the little blip thing that we're going to record. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here? Because we're almost at 3 hours.
That good night, UCLA.
Hey, good night, UCLA, ESPN, and you making budget cuts and wanting to bring in cheap talent. We're for hire.
We're here. We're not queer though.
No, we're not.
We can still get used to it.
If they offered us 150 right now, would you move to Bristol?
Move? Yeah, if I'm on ESPN, yeah, I'd do it. If I got to move and be on ESPN,
yeah. No, we're gonna be on ESPN. Like we gotta do the car wash, but then like we get to do the podcast.
I get my foot in the door. I could still run the company. Yeah, for 150. Yeah, I'd do it.
What about 80?
I'm still on ESPN and doing.
Yeah, we're still on ESPN. We're still getting access.
Well, how many hours a week am I working? Because I gotta still be able to do my own company at that point. Because that ain't enough to live off of. Especially, I have to imagine up there, it's definitely not.
Well, you get 2 squares on campus.
How many square feet is that?
How about square meals? Oh, you're living in a shit shack, buddy.
It probably is still worth it. I mean, if I want a career, at ESPN, like it's worth it. But they can't tell me I'm working 80 hours a week. And then that's basically me cutting off making less money. Or make what I make more money off of. I have to cut off that, and I can't do that.
So you wouldn't work as many hours as Stephen A does for 80K.
I don't even know what Stephen A does outside of
every
first in the morning, and then half the time he records remotely, like he's not even in studio.
No, but he does First Take. He usually does a hit on Greeny show that I never watch. He does the NBA studio show.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does his podcast. That's an ESPN podcast. I don't think he does his radio show anymore, though.
Probably not.
I know Charles Barkley makes more money than him and works a lot less hours.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. All right.
Well, anyways, hey Parlay Pete, let's go record this this promo video for the pod so I can put it out like first thing in the morning.
Let's get it done.
All right, I'll holler at you.
All right.